Why do they do it? I don't understand. It makes me angry. This is one of the things. You pay lots of money. You buy a car, right? A car in the UK costs at least, well, if you want a decent one, it's going to cost you about, brand new, about 12,000 upwards. And that's for, well, I say decent, you know, not a Mini or anything like that. It's going to be one of the economy type cars. But yeah, we paid for ours in 2013. We paid £11,000. We could have got it for about, we could have got one for about £6,000, but we wanted the top of the range one. We wanted diesel and all the rest of it, which of course now isn't ULEZ compliant because they've decided that ULEZ and diesels aren't happy. So big problems there. Anyway, so we got this Dacia Sandero. It's a nice blue car. It's what they call a crossover. It's a diesel, 1500. It does 95 horsepower. It does 65 to the gallon if you drive it nicely, and it will do better than that if you try. And it'll really go if you turn the eco off. And it goes quite well with eco on. So you know, what's the problem? Well, this is the problem. Have you seen one of these? Do you know what that is? Let me get it closer for you. See if it works. Right, I'll bring up a picture of it, and you can see exactly what it is. That is a 40 amp fuse. It's sat in the fuse box, and it's one of these ones. It's just a blade, so it's exactly the same as the sort of thing you use to connect, you know, horns and things. It's just a blade, but you've paid. I think the latest. I was looking at cars the other day. Vauxhall have had the problem. Certainly, the French companies have had the problem where the blades. I had a Renault where the connections that you use, the blade and couplers, they go loose, and then if you draw current through them, what happens? Well, that's what happens. See the colour of that leg? Right, so we've got a fuse box in our car. I'll show you a picture where it is. It's not our one, but it's, you know, it's somebody's, and that's what the fuse box looks like, and that's there. We can get a new fuse box off eBay for 110 quid. Well, I say new. Somebody's selling one from a breaker's yard for 110 quid. Sounds reasonable. Right, okay, yeah, fine. But for the sake of one connector on one thing. Now, I'm working on the theory that actually, the damage to that is such, because we can't see it. It's obviously overheated. That is to the diesel injector unit. It's the thing that actually controls when it goes squirt and when it goes boof boof. My wife is driving along quite happily. She stopped to drop somebody off. Went to start the car, it wouldn't start. Why? Those fuses are £2.40 for 10. 24p each. Blade connectors. Well, why should I have to spend £110 to buy a second-hand fuse box for one connector that's gone a bit iffy? Now, you're going to say, well, you can always replace it. Well, yeah, actually I can. I can probably find a way of jacking into the bus on the fuse box and just replace, you know, just connect that fuse in a different way. But that's because I'm capable of bodging it. Should I do that? No, really. Should I be in the position of having to do that? No, it is ridiculous. Little bit of a rant. Sorry about that. But anyway, if you've had this sort of problem, maybe you know what I mean. If you have the problem where your diesel car just stops, it could be just that's what's the problem. So do not discount the fuse box. The symptoms that we had on this was quite simple. The engine stopped. It went biddy beep on the system, which meant that there was something wrong. And when we looked, it had the traction control and the anti-lock braking lights were up, plus the sort of exclamation mark with a couple of things around it, and the battery. And also, it knew there was something wrong with the diesel bit, but it didn't know what it was. And then, having cranked it a couple of times, it then decided it didn't know what anything was, and it was just flashing with some sort of. If you are a Dacia engineer, you might know what the different things meant. But as a punter, basically, it came up with some symbols that shouldn't have been there, and then it all went into flashy mode. RAC came along, and after some poking about, he found that fuse was not blown. You can actually see, I don't know if you can see on there, but it is not blown. There is wire between the two sides, and it rings out, but it was not connecting to the positive bus. Anyway, that's it. Hope you get something from that. Maybe just you'll agree with me. Put a comment in there. Why do they use such cheap connectors on something that's so expensive? And anything is only as good as its weakest link. In this case, cheapest link. 24p fuse and a sprung connector. That's the way. This is the thing that gets me. You've got two bits of metal bent over like that, and then you slot in a blade. Chum. Like that. And that they consider to be a good connection for 40 amps? No. Why don't they have screw terminals? Why don't they do the thing properly? Why do Vauxhalls catch fire under the dashboards? Why do Renault heaters fail? Because push-on blade connectors are not good. Rant over. Catch you another time. Bye-bye.